Alright, for our first premise, we as Madden players want to replicate video game-like hits in football. Whether we're watching it or playing it, it is what we expect to happen. It's like it is in our DNA to want to see violence, thinking back to the days of the Roman Empire, where gladiators would fight to the death with up to 50,000 people in attendance to watch these games. I feel that football is today's modern version of the gladiator games. Football, mainly the NFL, is one of the most watched sports venues in the world today. Although it is in our DNA to watch the violence, the NFL is constantly trying to cut down on violent acts and hits to prevent injuries to the players. Now looking to the video game Madden, an almost exact representation of the NFL, they have features like the hit and truck stick to really lay the smackdown on your opponents, and rarely do you ever get penalized for doing so. Madden in the beginning used to really promote violence in ridiculous ways. Here's an example of this. Now, while violence is no longer that strange, over 20 years the Madden game designers have developed some pretty sophisticated gameplay that with the use of the hit stick you can get dangerous plays like this one. The hit that we showed could definitely cause injury in a real life situation, and could have definitely caused a penalty, but in the game, no flags were thrown. What are these types of hits in games teaching younger players about safety and good sportsmanship?
Today's media has put the focus on the immoral aspects of sports. I would like to convey this by showing the focus on violence and the focus of rule breaking in football today. I'd like to start with the quote I pulled from New York Times article by William C. Roden. The National Football League markets and manufactures controlled violence and mayhem better than any other league in the history of organized sports. Marketing and manufacturing controlled violence? That doesn't even sound right. But I'd have to say that football is a violent game. It's one of the reasons why so many people are drawn to it. Along with the hard hits, some of the other drawing factors are high stakes, professionalism, a reason to get together, and the feeling of being a part of a bigger fan base. Excitement from all those factors combined cause people to watch football. I feel that the media is putting too much focus, though, on the hard hits, and that is what's drawing people into the sport. I'd like to show you a clip that many of you already have seen it. It's the hit of the year.
Away and finish. Wow. Michigan at the 41. What a hit! Ball's free on the ground. South Carolina deserves to have it, and they do. Cloudy just says, I'll take care of business right here. You give me this long to catch my breath.
That was a huge hit. No wonder why the video has over 5 million views. And what's included? The celebration, too. In another article written by Eric Adelson titled Meet Vincent Smith, recipient of Jadeveon Clowney's famous hit and community activist. From this article we can take out, I can show you guys who have maybe not seen the video as much, how popular it really got. Edelson writes, there was even off-season debate about whether Clowney would have gotten ejected under the new rules for his ferocious tackle. And he also asked Smith, and what's it like turning to the TV every weekend and seeing a highlight of yourself getting separated from the ball in your helmet? Is there really need to be the constant replay of these hits? Maybe, it was a great hit, but does it need to be shown that many times? This article shows us that the hit was arguably illegal and overplayed through the media. Is the rewarding of a close to an illegal hit and very violent hit by constant replay actually moral? Well, whether that hit was illegal or not, I'd like to show you guys another aspect of sports that the media focuses on, and that is celebrations.
Okay, we've got 9 more different. Number 9, you got 2005. He was Chad Johnson at this point in his life. Forgot about it. Got the pylon. That's actually fine. Using it like a professional golfer with the putt. Cost him $5,000 in the NFL. That was pretty good. Yeah. Oh, number 8, 45-yard touchdown against the Packers. T.O. had another unique celebration in the back of the end zone back in 2002. You know what? Gotta borrow those. And I'll do a little of this.
Now these may look harmless, but let's look at these through a lens of morality. These excessive celebrations are illegal in the NFL. These celebrations are about boasting and degrading the opposing team, which takes away one of the most important things to learn from football, sportsmanship. These celebrations do cause fines, but players pay the fines like nothing happened and continue to do the celebrations anyway. And do you know what the media focuses on? These celebrations. And every highlight reel, like we saw, the celebration is included. I could find thousands of videos on YouTube of celebration. ESPN shows the top 10 celebrations. What do children learn from these in the media? That I don't need to show sportsmanship and that bragging is okay? Or how about, it's okay to break the rules as long as you have the money to pay the fine? Where are our morals here?
Technology isn't just in the form of electronics. Pretty much everything around us is some sort of technology. A technology in sports, a hidden one that only peeks its head out to cause controversy, are performance-enhancing drugs, or PEDs. To introduce these to people who may not know much about them, here's a short video to help you understand.
Strength, energy, endurance, those are 3 things that athletes are trying to get when they use these performance-enhancing drugs. Now, there's some debate as to whether it actually works, but the athletes seem to think that it works, and they often continue using it. So in some sports, strength is more important. In other sports, like let's say biking, endurance is also important. So athletes in different sports will take drugs that they think are tailor-made for what they need. And authorities sort of caught on to this in the 1960s, and they've been trying to stop the doping, but they haven't really been able to stop it completely. Some performance-enhancing drugs actually are real medicines, and they're legal if a doctor prescribes them, but they're not legal if a doctor doesn't prescribe them. And then in addition, governing boards of various sports have told athletes, you cannot use these. It is illegal in our sport for you to use these.
So why do athletes use PEDs? Like the video suggests, to increase strength, energy, endurance, and ultimately put on a better performance. But if PEDs help athletes put on a better performance, why wouldn't we as viewers want the athletes to take PEDs? For one, it is against the rules. Rules are there to keep the playing field as even as possible and to keep players safe. With that said, using PEDs gives a player an advantage over other players and disrupts the balance of the game. The most prevalent sport of users trying to get an advantage has to be baseball, especially after the biogenesis scandal. By nature, humans are competitive, and of course, taking PEDs is going to help a person hit more home runs. So it is easy to see why people would use these types of drugs in athletics. Roger Maris holds the most home runs in a single season record for almost 40 years, when in one season, both Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa break his record, along with the following season. When it came out that both players, along with Barry Bonds, who now currently holds the record, used PEDs, it really took the credibility out of that record. However, this is not the only sport that has its users. If you look hard enough, it is very likely that you can find PED users in every sport. Health risks are also a concern. Although there is a way in that they can be used as safe as any other prescription medicine, abuse of these drugs can endanger the user and the people around them. Risk to oneself includes things as little as acne, but can be as severe as heart or liver failure. Even though it isn't exactly a sport, but rather sports entertainment, whatever that means, we will look at the WWE for this. Eddie Guerrero, and more recently the Ultimate Warrior, both died from heart-related illnesses, likely related from long-term steroid use. But how can it be dangerous to the ones around them? Roid rage. This is a very real concern for family and loved ones around the person using PEDs. They become addicted to them just like any other drug, and the same side effects can occur. Becoming paranoid, obsessive, and aggressive, these people can become unpredictably violent. Sticking with the WWE, Chris Benoit killed his wife and 7-year-old child before killing himself in 2007. PEDs change the way we view sports in different ways. For some, they are completely turned off by sports because they are tired of watching steroid-inflated baseball players bunt home runs or doped-up cyclists riding their bikes as fast as the news chopper covering the race. Another way is that people may see this as a normal thing to do. One might think everyone is doing it, so it must just be okay. In either case, it's a shame because sports bring a lot of pleasure into the world, and these people are ultimately tarnishing their reputations.